Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 28th day of October 2021. Well, just a couple of more days, Sunday, and we celebrate Samhain or Halloween, whichever you prefer to refer to it as and how you celebrate it. We're not going to do a bonfire, but I am going to have a fire in the outdoor fire pit. It's a round thing, looks like a cauldron. Anyway, I'm gonna have one out there, and my husband and I I'll cook a stew, and that'll have stuff in it from the garden and to celebrate harvest and all that. So, oh, well, the kids are gone and they live elsewhere, and the grandchildren, we're not going to be able to go over there to see them to drop off pumpkins or anything. So my husband's going to carve a few of them that we have because we've got a bunch. And we'll do a little video to send to the grandkids to show them Grandma and Grandpa's pumpkins that we have. So that'll be fun. Sent them a little box of just stuff, Halloween stuff, the other day. And just to add to their fun on Sunday. So anyhow, I hope everybody's doing well. The sun is in Scorpio and the moon is in Leo, so that should make for an interesting dichotomy between drama and having fun. So focus versus having fun, and the drama between the two, maybe, I don't know. That should be interesting today, different energies. Let's see, what else happened? I don't know. Oh, well, Google Hazard, Kentucky, and see what comes up. Hazard with one Z, apparently. And the homecoming, that was shameful and disgusting and fascinating, really, when you think about it. So go check that out. I won't talk about it here because it's ridiculous. I won't take up any time for that. I think I've shuffled enough here. Let's go ahead and take a rune from the rune bag here and see what the Elder Futhark has to say today for the reading as a significating influence, if you will. And then we'll do a geomancy rune and see what that is as well. All right, come on. I let them fall through my fingers till one is left. Sometimes it takes forever. We have Ingus, 22nd rune of the Elder Futhark. This is a manifestation rune. It's the seed. It's Kenaz turned in all directions inward. So you can look at it as as above, so below rune as well. It can also be written as two X's, one on top of the other, like a DNA structure. So again, with the seed, it's manifestation energy. In the case of the two X's, it looks like a DNA strand. So what will you manifest today? Let's see what the geomancy rune is. I'm gonna throw down the ones that are the elemental geomancy runes, and then from there, from those four, we create the actual geomancy rune itself. So where do we have fire? Oh, that's earth. Oh, it looks like we have conjunctio, and that looks like this. Conjunctio is about joining or unity, joining with others. To me, it looks kind of like an hourglass. Its opposite or complement is carcer, or self-imprisonment. So I don't know. Yeah, I suppose it depends on what group you're joining with, as to whether or not your perceptions are imprisoned by the group or what have you. But typically it's thought to be a more positive aspect of that versus carcer. But in a sense, you could say you're manifesting harmony with others today, maybe. On Monday we were kind of talking about, the reading was really about, are you going to let ego drive your own perceptions, or are you going to draw them down from spirit? We always forget that we're actually souls inhabiting a body, and I guess that fact or that truth does not resonate with people, I think, in the way that it's supposed to. If you are in fact souls inhabiting a body, then shouldn't your perceptions and your actions and your beliefs, your values reflect that? Or are you going to let the ego determine everything in terms of, and become someone who just reacts to everything they see without maybe understanding the bigger picture of it all? Because there's always more to a story. I mean, sometimes what you see is what you get, but oftentimes there's more to the story than what people are presenting. So I think that we'll see if we continue on that same line here or today, or if maybe the reading is going to talk about something else. But now we know at least what we're starting with: manifesting harmony or unity. And what does that look like? Again, who are you going to align with today? I've got way too much on my table here. Anyhow, I got some new planetary, the sacred geometry planetary solids, like with air. This is water. This is the ether. Fire. I like using them when I set up an altar or I set up a workspace for doing something. I like to use them to as essentially the quarters, the four directions. I like to use them for that. It just gives a little higher self energy coming into the working. So I like using them. I think they're fun. Let's take a look at the first three cards. Well, we have, I think I'm going to even leave the order here. We've got one card from the Major Arcana, the Tower, is the second card I've drawn. The first one is the King of Wands, a guy in authority. And I don't like that the kings in the Rider-Waite deck do not look at you. It just tells me that there's something going on with them that is really all about them and not about the collective. A king should be somebody who's essentially the person in authority who's guiding something, either in his case the kingdom, or say it's somebody who's a supervisor or or the owner of a company or whatever. The person who is in authority, if it's in fact a man. But I mean, this could just indicate a projective aspect of authority, and that can involve women as well. So I hate to define this totally as one gender, because I don't know that it necessarily is. The King of Wands could just simply mean someone who is an older person in authority. In this case, a man, but it could be a woman who has a lot of Aries energy to her. A lot of a projective type of an aura instead of a receptive type of an aura. It's more projective in nature. But this person can be cruel, they can be bigoted, but they can also be very wise and generous and knowledgeable, and can be a wise counselor. He can be a wise mentor. The problem is he's not looking you in the eye. He's looking toward the past. He's in the direction of the past. He's holding his staff. You see his little salamander right there. That's the elemental for fire. And you see that reflected above here. So maybe your attention, maybe we could think of this in terms of where he is placing his attention. He's concerned not necessarily about the future or even about the present. He seems more concerned with maybe sustaining his own power, maybe. I don't know. And I only say that because the next card is the Tower. Here we have the 16th card of the Major Arcana. I mean, it even looks like the scales, doesn't it? You know, with the center part of the scales, with each person representing the pan. Well, here the lightning's coming in and blowing the lid off the tower. So you've got something catalytic that's coming that's going to blow the lid off the comfort level of the king, maybe, or how we see the king. So some truth may come out today about somebody in authority. And if it's you, then maybe something you've been doing has... See, to me, this feels deceptive. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's my own personal bias about kings, but it just feels deceptive to me. It'd be one thing if he looked you in the eye. You know, then you might be able to feel that more benevolent aspect of the card. But you know, I these days, I don't know that that's what it reflects. And now that we see the tower, we see the lid or the top being blown off by the lightning, and people, you see fire coming out of the windows, and you see people falling to their death. It's transformation. It's rebalancing things, restructuring things. It's Hagalaz. In a sense, you could see Hagalaz here, and then here's your angle for Hagalaz, the rune Hagalaz. But it's the idea of upsetting the dynamic because it needs to be. It's not something that's unexpected. It's something that likely lots of people see coming, but maybe you don't see it coming. The individual involved doesn't see it coming. But at some point, how we see things, the type of authority that we express, the speaking truth to power, what does that look like? You know, well, maybe what it looks like is going to be blown apart today, either by new revelation or new awareness, new perception. Something dawns on you. I mean, yeah, it took a lightning bolt, but you know, who knows, to reset the balance here. And then we have the Eight of Cups, where we see an individual, a man likely, walking away from emotions that no longer serve. You have the emotions have put right, or the cups, I should say, is the water element. It reflects our emotions. And here we have, it's almost like he represents the ninth one. So endings is implied here because he's walking away from emotions that no longer serve him. And the way ahead may be challenging. You see the rocks in the path. He's also going upward. He's climbing upward. He's using his staff to help him do that and to negotiate the path. So you have a little bit of will there as well. Staffs would reflect the fire element in this water element card. And that's often the case. You're going to see the other elements represented. You're going to see the earth represented here by the rocks and the land that he's walking on. But this is clearly, it takes strength to do what he's doing. 8 is a number of strength. But it's basically, can you put it all in order after it's all blown apart and you've had to look at something to really understand the bigger picture of it, and then to put it all in order, and then to have the emotional security to then set off on a new path, either understanding things differently or developing new perceptions around that new understanding. So that's interesting. Now, this could either deal with specifically someone in authority that we're finding something out, or you're finding something out about today, that's going to, you know, completely disrupt your perceptions of that individual. You know, we're finding out so many things collectively now about what happened with the insurrection that in January that show the involvement of the White House, that show the involvement of the president at the time, that show the involvement of all these people that were there to support a lie that he won, which he didn't. And so consequently, this could have something greater than just in our individual lives, although for some people, you know, having to restructure your perceptions about somebody you supported, that could be quite, you know, catalytic. That could be quite difficult to have to let go of the emotional attachment to something. You know, maybe somebody you know and trust has betrayed you. And what you thought of this person is completely, you know, you were fooled by them. And so if that's the case, and that happens a lot in life, where you think somebody is somebody you can trust, but then you find out that you can't trust them. And that's emotional, isn't it? It leaves you in a position where you now have to make a decision, and maybe you walk away from that commitment, that emotional commitment to that individual, because you realize it was not founded in anything other than deception. And so whether it's happening, on a personal level, or it's what we're, discovering every single day collectively, I think, for most of us, we're not surprised, but you're going to have a group of people that could be devastated by this, right? And so they're going to have to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, in a sense, and see it for what it is and get on with things. And stop aligning yourself with somebody or giving yourself over to somebody that does not have your own best interests at heart, as the king may not. That individual may only have, his own self-interest at heart. And then once you realize that, and the lid's blown off of it, and you see it for what it is, well, you can see, I think, that you have to, gather your emotions about you, figure out what's going to serve you going forward, and then go. Leave that individual and put your faith and your trust in someone else, or simply put your faith and trust in your own new ability to see the truth. Because realistically, I don't know that it serves us all that well to put our trust in other people. Put your trust in what you know to be true, what you know inside, that inner voice that's telling you, the higher self that comes in and says, you know what, this is nonsense. And again, so this could be an extension of Monday's reading, where we're having to put in place the ego, and understand that the ego cannot guide us, not if we wish to get anywhere productive, not if we wish to see the truth of something. So let's look at the card that challenges us. I'll take the 13th one. Well, when our emotions are all over the place and things have been blown apart for us, and we're having to restructure some of that, here we're doing that. Again, it's another 8 card. Not only does it take the strength to walk away from emotions that no longer serve, it takes strength to keep keeping on, basically, and manifest here. And this was going to align well, I think, with Ingu's today, manifesting a new level of security for yourself. Here, this man is building is basically practicing his craft, or building his in a sense, it's like he's getting all of his inventory ready to sell, basically. He's a craftsman, and he's working diligently on his craft, preparing for the future. It's easy to get caught up in the drama of it all, and I think that the drama may be that the king has caused. All right, if we want to look at it that way. And the challenge is to get back to work, on the structure of your life, on where you put your focus. Is it on somebody else who is using you and manipulating you and causing you great grief now that you understand the truth about this person? Or, or are you going to stay stuck in that and be unable to walk away? The whole idea is, where are you placing your focus? And in the case of the 8 of Pentacles, that's the earth element, and it's looking at, you're talking about the foundation of your life, the material aspect of your life, work, home, all of that. You have maybe following a charismatic leader maybe got you in a place where home life was affected, and now you have to do your due diligence to get that back, and that can be challenging. Yeah, I'm really beginning to think, especially with conjunctio as the geomancy rune for today, we're really looking at we're manifesting a new path with other people, maybe. one that's going to be a little more focused on reality. The thing about the suit of Pentacles and the Earth element, you're really looking at grounding and a sense of reality and what's really going on. And the challenge is to be able to see that and understand what you're looking at. So there may need to be some refocusing in that regard. Let's look at the card, though, and end the reading with what benefits us. So when you can overcome that challenge of getting back to work on restructuring your life and refocusing it on what actually matters, you heal with the Empress. The Empress is what you have. You have the first three cards. You have the Fool that takes the leap of faith into form. Then you have the Magician and the High Priestess that basically configure what that life's going to look like. And then from there, the Empress gives birth to the world. You see her shield down here with the glyph for Venus, representing love. She's a very spiritual individual. You see her crown reflects the stars there of heaven, if you will. She's very serene. She holds her scepter up high towards spirit. As the third card of the major arcana, you're looking at mind, body, spirit balance. An alignment. You're looking at the mother aspect of the goddess, love, fertility, abundance, receptivity, beauty. It can also indicate success. When the tower blows, when the lightning comes in and blows the top off the tower, the idea is to transform your perceptions into something else. If you've had a difficult time aligning with other people on a same path, it may be due to a charismatic individual that has been affecting your sensibility, basically, making you think something is one thing when it's nothing. Nothing could be further from the truth. So you have to let go of the emotions that no longer attach you to this type of individual or this type of mindset, and get back to restructuring your life and taking care of home and hearth and rebuilding. I mean, you could even think of this as rebuilding the relationships you have with other people. And that's challenging because in all likelihood, the drama that's been involved there has really cost you. And it's cost the family, or it's cost your friends. And because you're not the you that they knew anymore. And so again, if we're relating this to Monday's reading, where we're getting the ego out of things, that's part of it. When the ego is no longer focused on the authority figure that really isn't paying attention to them, then you have what is it? One of the guys that was there at the Capitol, I guess, made some comment at a thing where we gave our trust to this guy, but where is he? It's only people like us that are going to jail. Where is he? Why? He said we were supposed to not, get in trouble for any of this. This was supposed to be fine, but now look, and we're the ones suffering for it. Well, you're going to have to if you were one of them, because you committed a crime, basically. That's how they're looking at this. And crimes have been committed, some more serious than others. Right? And so there'll be a variety of punishment for said crimes, depending on what they are, right? But maybe it's the catalytic awareness. Maybe this has to do with these guys or anyone else that's within that mindset where, and I'm using it simply as an example, because there's lots of examples in our personal life where we believe one set of things and we discover it's nonsense and it's not going to serve us at all, and that realization just sort of blows everything up for us, and now we've got to rethink everything and make our decisions and leave behind what's no longer serving us. And that takes tremendous strength. That takes tremendous inner strength. And for those people making that realization now, whether it's just in your personal life or it's what the people who decided to go and try to overthrow our government on January 6th, what they're having to deal with now, they're having to understand that they were duped. And they were pushed in a direction that was never going to serve them, would only serve the person in question, but never serve them in the long run. Because what they were trying to do is never going to work, right? It's just not going to work. It didn't work. It's not working. And now the consequences are happening. And everyone's having to rethink, well, what did I just do? And who did I do it for? As the requests for, oh, give me more money come in, right? Because that's still going on as well. Send the guy more money. Oh, if you don't, you're a traitor. I actually got one of those emails. It's like, are you kidding me? You know, and I went into my spam folder because, of course, I don't, have anything to do with that. But at the bottom line is then you have to restructure everything. And that's going to, again, that's an 8 card there. And that's going to take a lot of strength to do that. It's to see the overall picture when perhaps your focus was way too narrow on some reactive ego thing. I watched a video of where people who are anti-vax attended a Portland Public Schools school board meeting. And the school board had to leave because people weren't wearing masks, and it's required, right? It's required in Oregon to do that, and you have to do it there. Well, they weren't. And so because of the risk involved, they adjourned the meeting, and those folks had their own meeting. And why they were allowed to stay in the building, I don't know. It made no sense. But they were there for quite a while after the school board adjourned and left and went to hold their meeting virtually so that they could be safe, right? From the virus and all of that. So because you don't know at this, it's still plaguing us, and so you still have to be careful. Well, here's an example of the same mindset that this reading is reflecting. Here we have the same mindset where they're still hanging on to stuff that is not helpful to the vast majority of to anyone. It's not helpful to them. It's not helpful to anybody. Right? And they're doing things that can put people at risk, and they don't care. All right? So they're still hanging on to this mindset that's never going to serve them going forward, but they don't see it yet. They're caught up in this. They're passionate about it. This is what they believe. And so they're expressing it. And I think in the final analysis, they're going to, and I don't know how many of them will come to this understanding, but they'll understand at some point, at least some of them will, that this is not the best course of action. And those that do, that allow that perception to come in, maybe they leave behind this kind of stuff and they move back into a more diligent, even though it's challenging, rebuilding of their lives, basically, so that they can then come back into true unity with other people. And harmony and love and shared purpose. Heal the rifts in the families. Heal the rifts in the community. So I guess that's it. This really feels like the end of Monday's reading, where we understand the effect of ego. And that when ego gets to be too much, something's got to come in and blow the lid off of that and transform things in a way that then ultimately brings us to love and unity. The love that a mother shares for her children, that mothers share for their children. That whole idea of what kind of world are we going to build? What kind of world are we going to create? Will it be based on love, or will it be based on hate? And that just seems to be the dichotomy that we're experiencing right now, all of us collectively. Whether, it has to do with what we see, how we see people act vis-a-vis the pandemic, whether or not they're going to follow the state rules, whether or not the state's even going to have any rules, whether or not you have a governor that actually cares, or one that cares about something else. And I still can't figure out what it is they're caring about. And it just seems to me that it's a draconian mindset versus one that's enlightened. And it's like you've got this very strong pull with all of it. So anyhow, that's what I've got for today. Think about it, and we'll talk again Monday for Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. Then watch for the forecast to go up on the blog Monday through Friday. Let's see, there's also a magical forecast that goes up on the Patreon page where I use the same stuff from the Esoteric Influences that go out on Sunday. Saturday, if you get them in your newsletter, because you'll get them there. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can get it in your inbox a day ahead of everybody. But otherwise, they're published on the blog over at Stepping Aside on Sundays. And I use the same upper area, the general esoteric influences and magical influences. I use those, and then I talk about what you can do magically on each day. Either ritual in terms of a meditative ritual, or in terms of some kind of working that you can do. Just recommendations and some spell casting tips and all of that are there. So anyway, if you want to sign up over at Patreon, that's just $1 a month to sign up there. But otherwise, at least you have the nuts and bolts for it, or at least some of them in the Esoteric Influences. So check there as well. And I guess that's it. I do some stuff over on Patreon or on Medium. You can check that out over there. There's links below the video, by the way, for everywhere I'm at. I generally, like on Twitter and stuff like that, I generally follow back if I see you. Sometimes there's just so much I miss sometimes, but I don't mean to. Sometimes I'll go back through and every so often and see what I've missed, but and start following those people. But so hang in there, don't unfollow me. I'll get there eventually. And anyway, but thanks so much for coming by, and I hope you click subscribe if you haven't already, and come back and join our little tarot and rune family as we explore how the runes and the tarot can help enhance and influence our lives on a daily basis. So give us something to think about overall as well. So have a wonderful rest of your week. We have Samhain or Halloween, depending on how you see that, on Sunday. Samhain actually begins at sunset on Sunday and lasts until sunset on Monday, so it's over 2 days. So enjoy that, and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.